Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Artist Talk for the Bacchanal de Afrique Festival. My name is Ajakuma, and I'm a first generation Ghanaian based in New York. And I'm a singer and songwriter, and today's one of two MCs for today. And I also have my partner here, Brian.
Hey guys. Welcome to Bacchanal d'Afrique 2020 virtual festival of its kind at the Bacchanal. My name is Brian Emery. My pronouns are he, him, from the city underneath the sun, Nairobi, Kenya, representing 254. It's a pleasure to have you guys. Welcome.
I didn't mention my pronouns, but my pronouns are she and her. And today's Artist Talk, you're going to get a chance to chat with a handful of African creatives from the diaspora. We're going to get to learn about their crafts, their art, their backgrounds, their upbringing, so we can just get a deeper perspective and appreciation of the work that they made for this adult festival. We have a couple of housekeeping rules. We have a Padlet. A Padlet is a program where you can insert any pictures, quotes, or any kind of images so other people can see. You'll see the link in the chat box. And then, of course, you have the chat box itself. So anything that's funny, any communication you want to have, any questions you want to ask the artist, please feel free to engage and use that there, because the artist would love to answer some questions. And definitely just be sure, if you're on social media and you're sharing anything, please tag Bacchanal de Afrique or Afro Urban Society, so people who aren't fortunate enough to have joined the Artist Talk can still learn more about us and engage over there. And Brian, do you want to kind of give some background on what I guess the festival and fellowship is all about?
So the festival is a celebration of art created by African creatives and creatives of African descent in the diaspora. The festival has brought together over 100 artists. In 2020, they have created projects centered around the theme of transportation, and which that was the theme of this year. So we look forward to showing you guys what the artists have created, and for you to get to understand a better understanding of the creations and their projects. Yeah.
Yes. And before we jump into the introductions, I should clarify that you have the comments on Facebook and the YouTube live stream that the audience can engage with. So please be sure when you're on YouTube or Facebook to use the comments features over there. But yes, so now artist intros. We're excited to meet you all. Everyone get buckled up, get a drink, get a snack, get some food, and let's dive in and get to learn more about these artists. So Trabali, we're gonna have you go ahead first and give us your welcome, your name, your pronouns, and let us learn a little bit more about you.
Hello guys, I'm Trabali. I'm a rapper, poet, creator from East Africa, Kenya. And I deal mainly with rap, hip hop, and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. My pronouns are he, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you. Tries art. Peace.
Welcome, Trav. Next on the list, we have Yvonne.
What's up, everybody? I'm Demetrius Borga. I'm coming
Sorry,
Vermont. I'm him, and I made from a little bit of California Northern Lights.
Okay, sorry, the connection got a little bit off, but I'm sure we'll get to come back and get to hear you clearly. Ifayomi, you can go ahead next.
What up, though, as we say in Detroit. I'm Ifayomi from Detroit, Michigan. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a filmmaker and multidisciplinary artist, and I am made from water moons, ritual, fire, Black memory, Black culture, Black futures, and a little 70s aesthetics.
We love a little bit of 70s and 80s here. Next on the list,
Yes,
we
we
have
do.
Taylor.
As we say in New York. My name is Taylor. I am a writer, poet. I pop a lot of ish on the paper and on the mic. I'm also a curator and a founder of a business called Go Beams that curates experiences for Black creatives like all of us. And I am made of a little bit of sleepiness right now, the little sleep fairies around, but also a lot of like joy. I am made up of Howard University, just like our new vice president, and good vibes and like locks.
Beautiful. You know, New York always has to represent wherever we go. Big up to New York. And now we're going to go ahead to Afatasi.
Malole Soifua, Oloingoa Afatasi the artist. Hi everyone, I'm Afatasi the artist. My pronouns are she and her. I am a Afro-Polynesian multidisciplinary artist with an emphasis in textiles. I am made of stardust and coconuts. And sucker free realness, San Francisco Bay Area represent.
Yo. Thank you, Fatasi. Last but not least, we have Tepiso.
Sanbonani, Dumelang, Molweni. My name is Tepiso Mabulagandongeni. My pronouns are she and her, all the way from the southwestern township Soweto in the beautiful Republic of South Africa. I am made of descendants of Shai Mkundla Nonina Kubulashe. I am the child of King Matsigane, the best of the best is in Jazakona. Danko.
So beautiful. I love that we have people literally represented, like from literally the African diaspora, from around the world, coast to coast around the world. So we have a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different representations here, and a lot of great art. So let's dive into the artist questions. And we'll start with the first one. How did your journeys as a creative begin, and where are you going? And as Trabali, as you think about your answer, I kind of want the audience to think about their journeys in whatever career path, even if you're not a creative. You know, what has been your journey like to this point, whether you're a lawyer, a PR person, a doctor? What has that journey looked like, and how did you get here? So, Trabali, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, I forgot to say I'm made of melanin magic, my mother's prayers, metaphors, and melodies. And my journey began as a child. I discovered my mom's books, and she used to write poetry. And that time, I never knew poetry, like someone could express themselves honestly, and it was okay. So when I discovered that, I started writing, just imitating her honesty, and she wasn't writing at that time. And then when I reached high school, I listened to the old Kanye, and I was like, oh, you could flow and you can rap. And so that fused, and it made me now mix it with hip hop. And I met a crew of guys who loved freestyle. And this was around 2010, and they put me onto a lot of hip hop music. So I just got deep into that. I got deep into albums, listening to Illmatic and all this stuff. And in like 2 years, I'd listened to a lot of hip hop music, and it really like just like that honest expression. And when KRS Swan said, hip hop is the knowledge, hip is the knowledge, hop is the movement, hip hop is intelligent movement. That really just grabbed me. And from there, I was taken in. And so I went to law school thinking I wanted to be a lawyer. And then I found a producer who was my roommate. So that didn't work out. So it just changed, and it's like everywhere I went, my destiny just kept calling me. So I found a producer was my roommate. We started making mixtapes. I started selling the mixtapes. I started going for spoken word competitions and stuff, and the rest is history. And now I'm here. So it's been a journey. Yeah, long story short, yeah, that's me.
Wow, that's beautiful. We thank the universe for bringing you into the hip hop world. Next on the list, we have Demetrius. Demetrius, do you mind telling us your creative journey? What led your path? Yeah.
Yeah, I think my creative journey, similar to Chablis, started out when I was a kid. You know, I love drawing pictures, you know, these elaborate photos, crayons and markers and anything you get your hands on. I also loved watching movies as a kid. You can ask my mother how many times I must have watched Jurassic Park and what it could do for me. And then from there, I remember in middle school, whether it was or like an informational thing, those were always my favorite things. And then in high school, I had this incredible film teacher. He exposed me to all sorts of things, the power of film, what you could study film in college. I was a film major at middle. Anything behind the camera, I was all about. And then I worked for Middlebury doing films for them. And around that time, actually, we had a bit of a problematic president, if you will, formally. And it really made me inspired to think about my own Black identity and my responsibility to the Black community. So I made this short documentary looking at how you maintain your sense of self as a person of color in a predominantly white community. And that's what brought me to here. That's what brought me to Bacchanal d'Afrique. I wanted to keep exploring that, exploring how do you be Black in a place like Vermont?
That is so beautiful, and something that you and Chablis' journey so far that are kind of similar to each other is just the idea of developing yourself like throughout school, throughout schooling. And I think that's super important, and to have those sections support you somehow through resources is really important. So Ifayomi, tell us about your journey.
So we all started out as children. I grew up the daughter of a writer and book reader. My mother used to take me to the library in the summertime to pick out books, and she would make me write book reports on them, which I hated as a child. I hated it, but it really grew my love for storytelling and writing, and she kept journals, and I was inspired to keep my own. So I just stayed writing throughout grade school. I had teachers who encouraged me to enter like writing competitions. And in high school, I actually was on my school's newspaper. But before that, when I was about 8, I wrote and came up with the concept for a play for my church's summer program. And I actually have a video, part of the video with me now, where I'm like, it was called The Serial Killer. And I thought I was cool because it was about cereal that you eat. So like that was my concept. And like there was a serial killer on the loose, like eating everybody's cereal. And my pastor and everybody thought it was really cool. And so I don't know if you can see me in this suit jacket that's huge. I forgot my line, but so like this was my first introduction to like film and storytelling. And when I went to college, I ended up leaving. I majored in journalism. And I just explored a bunch of different creative paths that I was interested in. And because I'm a Sagittarius and I love doing everything, I wanted to find out how can I merge all of these pieces, these creative pieces in me, like music, and dance, and poetry, and film. I ended up back at film, and it just made the most sense for me to like merge all of these things. So
That's beautiful. And quick note before we go to the next person, if it's possible to put that in a Padlet for the audience to see, I think that would be very funny. So please do that if you can. Brian, you can introduce the next artist.
Next on our list, we have Taylor.
Hey. Okay. My journey as a artist started, or as a writer and a poet and a spoken word poet started with diaries. And like, I was an emotional, sensitive ass kid. So excuse my French. I would listen to like rock bands and be like, Mom, like, I'm so sad, like dramatic. But I stopped writing in diaries so much because I thought those little padlocks were like, you know, top notch. My mom would just bust that thing open. I was like, I can't have all my business out in these streets. And then as I got a little bit older, me and my homegirls, we used to walk we had skating on Friday nights, right? Roller skating. And I would, like, everybody would kind of make a right to go home when they walked. And me and one or two other girls would go a different way for our house. And we would just freestyle to the Lauryn Hill, ooh, my homegirl would do the oohs, and I just like talk my stuff, right? Later on in college, we started like a writers club. One of my girls is a journalist, the other is a script writer. We were just like, can I read through this? And it's like, but I got this. So that happened. We had an open mic there. And then I came out to the Bay Area and was like in a bad emotional place. Rage wrote a post one day called Am I Crazy? And I was like, I gotta share this. Went to a few open mics, people liked it, and started curating events on my own and really being around a lot of other artists and creatives who like my stuff. It's scary to share your stuff, right? And so that affirmation like propelled me to be like, yo, I think I got the lyrics. Oh, and battle rap, whole lot of battle rap. And that's my essence too when I perform.
Beautiful. Friends are so key to a journey. Sorry, go ahead, Brian, but I just want to say that friends are so key to someone's journey. Having those people that support you, nothing is better than that.
Major key.
Yeah. We have Fatasi.
Hey everyone. So my journey to where I am now is really linked to like my parents' journey. My mother is from Western Samoa, which is a country in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. She was born and raised there, and came to America to marry my father. And my father was a black man from the South. He's from Memphis, Tennessee. So like they lived in San Francisco where I was born and raised. And so we didn't have any like cousins and things like that. But what we did have was like the Samoan community, which I did a lot of traditional Polynesian dancing. And in that we would have to make our own costumes because, you know, we don't have the materials, you know, that are native to Samoa to make the costumes. So I just remember as a child, like going to the fabric stores with my mom. Like anytime we would have things for church, it was always a trip to the fabric store to buy materials to make these traditional costumes because we didn't have them here in San Francisco. And so I just remember being able to like go through I think that the fabric store is like the one place that I had like some freedom because I was like touching stuff, and normally my mom would be like, don't touch anything, like you don't buy anything, don't touch anything, you don't get nothing, like, you know, and that was like the one place where she's like, let me go free. And so I remember like always like being very young, handling a hot glue gun, always crafting something. And it was really because of our traditional cultural wear. And so I got into sewing like maybe 6 years ago. And that is how I started sewing. And a large part of that too is like being Black is, I feel like there's a lot of creativity. So I took a lot of creative liberties with being Black because I always just felt like, you know, like we got that magic. And so like a lot of the traditional things that I do make like always have both of my cultures in it, and people have been very receptive to that. And so it's nice to see.
Beautiful, beautiful. We love to see it. We love to see a fusion of different cultures manifest in your art. And as we get to our last person, I hope the audience is really thinking about their own journeys. You know, everyone here has a different journey that's led them to Planet Bacchanal. So, you know, I hope the audience is like thinking about what their journey has been like, and you know, the experiences that have led them to how they've gotten here to be an audience member of the Artist Talk. So Tepiso, please let us know about your creative journey and how you got here.
Yeah. So like in a nutshell, I was not meant to be a creative. My parents had planned that I would like become a lawyer or something like that, because they were both civil servants. And so like the expectation was like I was gonna be like something real. But then I went to university. I decided to study journalism, and I had to like drop out in my second year because I couldn't afford to pay the fees any longer. And as a gift to try and comfort like the fact that I was heartbroken, you know, about not being able to go to school, and my uncle bought me a book by a photographer whose name is Santu Mufukeng. And I remember just like looking at these images, and it felt like I was kind of being reintroduced to myself. And I thought, maybe this is something to do, like maybe buy myself a camera, see where it goes. So I did that, and then fast forward four years later, I'm here on Planet Bacchanal. So yeah.
That's really amazing, Ajiakoma. And what I really like about getting to knowing the artist better is everyone has a different journey. Everyone's path was charted differently. Everyone tried to go against the grain of what the society had asked them to conform to, and which has led them to Planet Bacchanal. And we are so glad that you guys are showing us your projects. So my question to you guys would be, what does Me Soon Come mean to you? Tra, we'll start with you.
Yeah, Me Soon Come, translated to Swahili, that's like what? Nakuja. And Nakuja is like, when someone tells you Nakuja, you expect them like I'm on my way, I'm not there, but I'm coming, I'm bringing some fire and brimstone. So Me Soon Come to me is like Nakuja, I'm not there, but expect me, and expect the unexpected. Yeah, so that's it.
Dope. We actually have a few audience questions, and we're about to go into our fun little group project. So I'll introduce the group project for the group to begin working on, and then we can kind of give the artist a chance to answer some of the fan questions or the audience questions. So in the fellowship, excuse me, we do a lot of talk about what the future looks like specifically for black people around the world. And we did a project of designing two projects. One, designing the black future, and also what does transportation in the future look like. So we're going to give that question out and kind of have you guys design or share. You can share it audibly as well. Share what the transportation of the future looks like. So thinking about whether you're from New York and you know you have your New York City taxis, or whether you know you're in Africa and you have your local public transportations, whether it's trains, whether it's something we've never even heard before, you know, let your mind roam and kind of give us some background, draw it, and you can upload it into the Padlet, which the link was shared before, and you can kind of give us an idea of what that transportation looks like. And while people are doing that, we're gonna go to an audience question actually. And this one is to Afatasi. You talked about your Samoan culture being, pivotal to your artistry. So I'm wondering, like, when you think about the Samoan community and you think about your art now, like, what was it like to have, like, a village, behind you while you were creating your art? Like, did that make a difference? Did that have any kind of impact on you, having, a local Samoan community?
Yeah, I would say that one thing, and I believe I was telling Taylor this last night as I hung out with her. Yeah, so being a part of the Samoan community um was great in some ways. I was able to express, and it was like a village kind of thing. Like it was like an assembly line. Like we would have to make like 12 Tahitian costumes, and so those had to be done by everybody. And so being a part of that was great. But there's something about me being Black too, and there's something that I feel when I put on a traditional Samoan costume. I feel something, and because I'm Black and I will never know what part of Africa I'm from, I mourn that. Like I mourn that fact. So for me, I always try and make sure that like creatively, like both are represented, if that makes sense. So like that's what that is for me, being a part of the Samoan community, being able to know you're rooted somewhere. Like I'm grateful for that, but like my other half, I mourn that a lot when I create sometimes.
I just want to thank
answer
you
the
all.
question. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to thank you all for like such honest answers to all these questions. The audience has really been bubbling to learn more about your work. I just have another question for Taylor, actually. Word on the street is you're nice with the bars, nice with the rhymes. People are wondering where they can find your work.
Oh, it's interesting. I spend a lot of my time through Go Beams making spaces and experiences, whether it's an open mic or a gallery or an event for other creatives. And I'm still like really shy. So like with my monthly open mic, Second Mondays, I host about 200 people monthly. I would perform every month, and then every week at another open mic called Speak on It and Open. But I am still like working on being confident enough to push myself as an artist, as I push myself very confidently as an entrepreneur. So I'll hit you with these bars. You'll get them. Or if you're in Oakland at me, I'll make an event for you, just for you.
Dope. And do you guys have any ideas of what transportation would look like in the future? Give us some of your best ideas. Or what do you think wouldn't make it? Might be more interesting. What do you think would just definitely not be there?
Well, I can't. I had an idea. I'll go with the first one. Well, back to my project is I'm a writer. 7 pieces that describe my evolution of myself through my evolution of travel. So you have walking and being like, "Hi, Miss Johnson." You have like Uber and having like losing all your money to Uber, especially now that you can't do a pooled ride. But I had to get real nostalgic. So now thinking about the future of what transportation, I have a huge like fetish for the universe. Like I watch universe documentaries every single night since I was 13. And so I just want to go into the edge where a planet is all red or it's raining diamonds or things like that. But then emotionally, I want to be transported to myself for all my fears and anxieties and be able to change that. Like whatever the men in my head or the little people in my head just doing weird shit making me anxious, I just need to have a conversation with them so I can stay being like this beautiful sunflower that I am to everybody's life.
That's really good. That's really good. You're bringing good sunshine vibes today. Thank you very much for that.
Anyone else have any ideas that they want to share?
I would say that the future of like travel, I think is definitely with like our clothing. Like I think that like we would be able to wear something that could transport us. So it's like more personal, like your personal style. Like, oh, I got my rocket boosters on today. You know, I got my jet propulsion in the like, you know, like there's ways that we're gonna condense these things and make it so that like, oh, okay, I'll meet you in Thailand at 3, like, you know, like something like that. Like that's gonna happen. And I want to be a part of that immediately.
I can get with that. It kind of reminds me of like Harry Potter's cloak. Like I could see myself with a nice kimono and I like move the fabric and I'm in a completely different country. Like I'm here for that.
I like that. I like that.
I just finished watching this series and what was it called? Lovecraft Country, and there's a scene where this woman just says, "I am something." She's like, "I am this," and she's transported immediately to that space. And that was one of my favorite episodes. And I would love to live in a space where I'm like, I am a pharaoh and I'm experiencing that. I am whatever. You can be multiple people and just experience yourself as the consciousness that is there. So I'd really love that if that's in my future. Yeah.
Bro, that is the best show ever. We need to talk more offline, just in fan out about it.
Yes, that I Am episode. The
best episode.
Costumes. I was living for it. I was like pausing, rewinding. I was like, oh my, in front of the TV. It was a mess. It's a mess when Lovecraft Country comes on up and over here.
It's amazing. And also just seeing Black people being represented in sci-fi. And with all that stuff, not even just sci-fi, just our otherworldly stuff. Because we have it here in Africa, but usually like, yeah, in Nigerian context, which is usually like seen as darker, but just with power. It's so beautiful to watch. So yeah.
And since we're actually on this topic, it might be a great time for us to like just spend maybe a minute for those who are interested in like sci-fi. You know, Black people aren't really represented in those genres, and we are talking about the future here. So, anyone have any opinions on that? You know, Black people in like Afrofuturism or science fiction or anything like that. Please share your thoughts.
First of all, okay, Black sci-fi is my favorite genre. Like Us, Get Out, Antebellum, all of these really dope new shows just coming up, just really blowing my mind. And I also don't have to feel trauma and triggered, which is important for some of the context too, right? I can just watch Black, like people can make Black art and it not be rooted around trauma. It's just imagination. So love that. But also giving kudos to like Missy Elliott and Busta Rhymes in their 20s. Like you synonymously think of Gwen Stefani and like the Harajuku girls, and it's like, oh, you doing your thing up in Asia, Japan. Yo, Missy Elliott had all like Japanese, like Get Your Freak On in the beginning, her head coming off. Busta Rhymes like got the whole like animals and the painting on them and the break your neck. That is Black sci-fi, that's Afrofuturism, and it's just amazing. The Oakland Museum is doing an Afrofuturism exhibit with some of these elements, and so I love that, and being able to talk about myself through like my Blackness via all of these dope other things about like that are in my head and other people's head.
Yeah, I love that as well. Like I remember when I discovered also Sun Ra and space is a place. He was doing Afrofuturistic stuff in the 50s. And I think as Black people, it's really dope if we could heal our imagination, because we are never given the freedom to just be. You always have to be contextualized, or for the white gaze, or you have to always explain yourself. And we just need to imagine and just have that. I remember in the beginning of Bacchanal, there was that group called Imagination, and I think that's what we need to be hated for in the future. So Black sci-fi is needed, definitely.
Well, I would say that. Are we?
Yeah, I think I also.
Okay. Did you say move on?
Oh,
I just wanted to say,
okay.
like, what, oops, hello?
Sorry, you cutting in and out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, like, the interesting thing for me with African sci-fi is that the discovery is that it's not something that's new to us. I think we've always been people who are innovative. We've always been, a people who know how to create and imagine beyond what we see. So I think we should start embracing that and like channeling that into our creativity, and like engage with our elders on how they relate to, Afrofuturism and how we can include them on this journey to getting there.
Love that. Afatasi, I know you were going to say something as well, but that is a great point, Tapiso, of going back to the elders, like, and seeing what their perspective is on that. Afatasi, go ahead.
Yeah, I just love what Trebali said about like healing our imagination. And I feel like when I was growing up, I didn't see very many people like, I would watch Star Trek and like Star Wars and things like that. And those are like the major blockbuster, shows and movies that, didn't really have much representation. And so it really, I think is important for people to know that Black people are in the future because we are the past. And that is very important for people to know. Like we're the foundation of humanity. So like we are definitely the future.
Couldn't agree less with you, Afatasi. We are the past, present, and we are definitely the future. I really like the artist, Ajakoma. You get to learn new things. Like I think I have found something that I'm going to binge watch this weekend, this coming week, which is Lovecraft Country. Thank you guys for putting me on. Any questions?
While we wait, I just want to shout out. There's this dope artist named Lisa Wormsley who went all over the U.S. and has her art all over big billboards where Black people in the future. So you can drive and it's just boom in your face and on the sides of really large buildings. Work in progress in showing how our action is so meaningful and our notes are being highlighted and amplified by not just us, but the Black artists around us.
Absolutely. And I wanted to quickly, before we wrap up our group project, direct a question towards Ifayomi. You mentioned in your intro about your work being rooted or influenced by ritual. So would love some context into that for the audience who may not understand what the meaning behind that is.
I feel like Michael asked that.
Yes, the audience, they don't know.
Yes, audience. So I look at ritual as something that is intentional, something that's done, repeated over time, not always religious, but absolutely spiritual. And a lot of the times I ask myself, like, what's the cost of me not living in like this ritualistic manner? Like, what do I lose? And for me, like, it's really simple. It's just that life feels a little less beautiful. It feels a little less connected. And when I live in like this intentional way, like this ritualistic way, I feel more connected to everything around me. I see things just a little deeper for me. And I feel like everything that I put myself into gives back to me. And it becomes like this really cyclical nature of living. So ritual is that for me. And I like to show that even in like the smallest and mundane ways in the work that I do, like this really intentional, like kind of light bulb in the work.
Beautiful. So I think people can now upload their projects into their Padlet or any images they drew, and we can all take a look at that. And unless there's any more additional questions from the audience host before we wrap it up. Oh, well,
I
we
think we're all good
actually
here.
have some more time. Okay. All righty. Okay. Well, Brian, do you have any additional questions for the audience before we close it out? You're on mute. This happens to us all the time. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, thank you for that. I just want to thank being amazing audience. We've had a good time. We couldn't learn more about the artists, the visions, the hopes, the dreams. We've gotten to learn about the journey and the projects. I guess that's it from us. And just a quick question to all the artists. Describe your bacchanal journey in one word as we sign off.
Sorry, what was the last piece you said? I'm sorry, I missed that.
I asked the artist to describe the bacchanal journey in 1 or 2 words.
Yeah, you can start with you, Traboli.
My journey has been it's been very like being opened up, to experience all these forms of art. There's a reverb happening. I don't know where it's happening from. Anyway, my journey has been like, it's been interesting and very expansive. So expansion would be the word. Being opening up to all these forms of art. Someone like Yvonne with the Afro picks, Afatasi with the space suits. And I've found healers, I've found very interesting creatives in this small community, and it's felt like home. So yeah, that's how it's been.
Demetrius? Oh, we may have lost Demetrius.
I would say that my journey with Bacchanal can be best described as affirming and inspirational. And I say affirming because it made me believe I can be a part of this community and of Black creators, and that, you know, we all have our stories to tell, and we all connect about certain things that I couldn't usually otherwise living in Vermont. And then also inspirational because it's just so many people from around the world making beautiful, incredible art.
If I may.
I have to say the same word as Traboli, expansive, or I can even say like it's stretching in a way. This experience really forced me to honor like the messaging of Detroit and me as an artist at the same time. And I felt myself like really stretching pieces of myself to really honor both stories at the same time. So this whole experience has been like one that's pulled me in a lot of directions, whether it was like culturally and like meeting folks and learning, or just like internally and artistically. So it's stretching and expansive.
Beautiful. Taylor, let us know.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit, but but my first word is new practices. I normally write out of emotion, and I have like a lot of freedom in what I write. And with this fellowship, I picked it because it made me write in a theme, right? Transportation, and I'm storytelling now. So the way that my pieces are for this fellowship is completely different than anything I've ever done, and a lot more vulnerable. So that, and I like did something to music and recorded myself, which is also very new. So new practices, and then new friends will be my second word, parentheses S. Like Afatasi said, we was hanging out last night. That's why I'm all snuggled up now. Me and Sephora too. Kelly and I are gonna be working on a project. I'm about to video chat with all y'all for real. So get ready for me to slide in details. So new practice.
We will definitely be connecting.
Right,
Absolutely.
Over the holidays. What's up, girl? Okay. I'll go right back to the Trappin Z Bridge. Okay. Meet you at the Palisades.
Beautiful. Afatasi, go ahead.
Yeah, I would piggyback off of that. It's the connectivity. I've connected and have made friends with a lot of wonderful people here, and have gotten more of a global perspective of the entire diaspora. So that's been really, really nourishing for me.
Beautiful. And last and certainly not least, Tapiso.
Yeah. So there's a saying in isiXhosa that says indoda imba kwenye eqolo, which means in order for one person to succeed, you need to lean on other people. And I think that's what this fellowship has reminded me of. It's that there are other like-minded Black people in the world who know and understand that it is okay to connect with people, to connect with the world, to connect with the things that you create on a level that is more than just spiritual, that is more than just physical, So the fellowship for me has been reaffirming, it has been very reassuring, and it has, like, being here in this space with all these amazing creatives has meant that I feel validated to continue creating as I have. Yeah.
Thank you, Tapiso. Thank you, everyone. We have definitely had a good time. Giacomo can testify to that. And we look forward to seeing more of your projects up on the Brockhampton website. Just a quick one, artist, do you mind dropping your social media handles for your websites so that guys can reach out and see more?
Sorry, I think my connection is bad, so I wasn't able to catch what you said well. But thank you all for being here. Feel free to put in your IG social media handles in the chat, and stay tuned for the festival. Thank you for coming.
Well done, everyone. Nice work. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me with all the car horns going outside, music. People are happy. Okay, we're going to do a quick feedback session. That's how much time you needed? Or you needed more?
So the standard that I texted Miles and asked him to give us the all clear.